Hello everyone, this is Tamara Rothenberg from Miami, and this week we see PARASHA Vayikrah. So PARASHA Vayikrah, we're actually starting the book of Leviticus, and this is after Exodus. So this is very strange because we start a book that it actually starts with just laws of Korbanot. So we finished building the Mishkan in the book of Exodus. Finally, we finished building the Mishkan, and we have the place of the Mishkan, and it says that the cloud is above us with the Mishkan, and finally we have a place for us to communicate and to start our relationship with Hashem, with God. And then we start all these laws, and we don't understand that's where the Jewish people are going, if they're going on a journey or not. Doesn't say anything. It just starts like a bunch of different kind of laws, starting with the Korbanot that they were doing in the Mishkan. So it starts with the Korbanot, and then go into the purity laws and other type of laws that we will see on the different parashot going forward in this book. But I want to talk about specifically on the Korbanot, the sacrifices that they did in the temple, and what they did and what they were for. It was to remind them the time in when we received the Torah in Mount Sinai. Moshe received the Torah, and actually he did a sacrifice, and he put out blood to all the Jews, and they did the same kind of thing on the sacrifice on the Mishkan. And why we do this? Well, it sounds kind of gross, but actually it's interesting to read the explanation. Even though we don't do that now, and we cannot actually relate, there is a way that we can relate to the concept of it. When they did the Korbanot, they basically did the Korbanot to have like a kind of communication with Hashem. So Hashem wasn't able to, people were not able to see or to hear Hashem, because if people were able, if they were going to see him or speak to him in any way, they die. So that like they did before Mount Sinai, when that's when they were not able to even hear the commandments, because the souls went up. So because the religion was so powerful, they needed to do certain sacrifices to understand that that's a kind of relationship that we can communicate with our Creator. It's a kind of way we need to communicate, because remember, Hashem belongs to a different kind of world, and we belong to a different kind of world in time and space, and we needed to build a space in the time that we communicate with Hashem. It's Shabbat mostly, but during the physical time in the Mishkan was through sacrifices. Now we do it through praying. We don't do physical sacrifices, but we do have other ways to communicate with Hashem that we can do it internally when we don't have that interaction. When they offer the sacrifices and they put out the blood in the altar, Hashem was able either to consume the offering or not consume it, or consume part of it, and either we share it with him or he consumed all of it or part of it. So what does it mean? The different kind of relationship that we have with Hashem. It means like we share it, or we have full respect or full given to Hashem. That's what it means today. And in that way, they used to see in the Mishkan the fire that was consumed like from the heavens, the fire that it got consumed. So all the Jewish people felt that relationship. They felt good. And the way that the blood was spread and the way that they killed the animal was also very respectful, meaning in why we did it with certain kind of animals, that they were very instructed, is because we needed to understand our mortality. That gave us a kind of a sensitivity, and not doing it in a rude way, putting the blood out of the animal. The blood is the essence of the soul in all of us. So it's kind of like we're putting ourselves there, we're putting our soul there for Hashem, and we're spreading in the altar saying this is our soul we're putting here, because actually it's to have sensitivity with the animal. It's the opposite that we think. It's not to be animals with the killing animals, because everybody think, killing animals is bad. If you're doing that's when we're doing when we kosher the animals, we don't eat their blood, because we don't want to eat their soul. We just want to eat their bodies. We don't want to eat their soul because we respect the animals. I was watching once a documentary when Temple Grandin, and she was and if you should watch it to her life. and she was the main architecture of the buildings where they used to kill the animals, the cows. And she actually was an autistic girl, very successful, very smart, and she built these kind of places where they used to kill the cows, and they were very successfully built to kind of have sensitivity for the animals, to kill them with sensitivity. It was not to kill them kosher, but it was like kind of similar way to kill them with sensitivity, so the meat was going to be with quality, and also the animal was going to die in peace. She did it because of that, and she created a system that the cows didn't suffer stress, like a system that the way the cow used to walk, etc. We have another way of system that the cow doesn't suffer. But the point is, we need to have certain respect for the animals, because that gives us sensitivities for us, to give us sensitivities to us and to the animal as well. And we have a certain way to eat it as well. So we do have to have sensitivity towards the killing of the animal, and also the pouring of the blood. We're not allowed to drink it because it's their soul. And the fact that when the Jewish people used to put the blood in the altars represents our blood, our soul too. Because we say we are recognizing that we are very vulnerable, and our life are very vulnerable, and we're totally dependent on Hashem. That's the main thing. And the lesson that I wanted to leave here, even we cannot do that now physically, we need to think about it and think that we're still very vulnerable, and how are the ways that we can actually be kind with each other to give completely that completeness to Hashem, and that way that we can actually give ourselves completely to Hashem in the way that He wants. He wants us to be kind with one another, and to love each other, and not to be mean to one another, and not to compete with each other, and to have peace with one another. Recently we was the Shema that we did all together, and it was very beautiful to see that we all prayed together, and that has a lot of power to Hashem, and Hashem wants to see us that way all together. Religious Jews, non-religious Jews, everybody together praying together to Hashem for one purpose. We want the hostages back, and we want to Israel to have finally all the hostages back home, and to that, to have to be good with one another. No, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, to have peace with one another. And that's important to say, because we were very divided before October 7. Now it's beautiful to see that we're all back together, and we are supporting on one cause. And Hashem wants us to see to supporting His cause on His side. That's it. He wants to see His children together. And with this beautiful message, now we're entering the holiday of Purim. We have to pray harder, and also have in mind that this the month of Adar, all the things can change, and all the things will change for the good. It's a month that in Purim everything changes for the positive, upside down. We were supposed to get killed in Purim, and a man wanted to kill us, and we were very, very close. And because of Esther, things turned around, and the praying of the Jewish people. One woman and all of the Jewish people praise, help us to survive. And it will happen again. Shabbat Shalom, Happy Purim, and see you next week.